So I'm going to be meticulous with this. I'm going to show you exactly how to do the windowsills, door frames, and baseboard. I'm going to start with the baseboard. So with Dave doing cutting and all that stuff, there's dust left on it. So I'm just taking a damp rag and I'm going to wipe it before I paint every single one of them to get all the shit off of it, or his handprints with the grease and the oil that maybe is left on his hands. And then if the floor is really dusty or sandy from anyone working, it needs to be vacuumed prior, just because the bottom of the roller might hit the ground and then pick all that crap up. So I'll just slightly wipe it. Okay. We're gonna do the baseboard first, all right? And this roller, don't get it too wet at all. If you over wet it, you're gonna run into a lot of problems. All right, so Steve, if you can get closer. So to begin with, the baseboard's already on. So there's the nail holes that he put in there. What I'm doing is I'm just swiping the roller into those nail holes to fill those nail holes with the paint, right? Swipe it in there, okay? So I'm doing just the length of the board, of each board with the nail holes. I'm swiping the paint in there to get the paint filled in there, so at that point we don't have to putty them. They look brand freaking new, like it was painted on the wall. Okay, once that's done, and I accidentally touched this, use your hand, swipe it off, all right? Once I swiped in the paint to cover those little nail holes, now I'm gonna go and do the base of it. You're gonna keep hitting those freaking nail holes in there, okay? Just keep going. All along the baseboard. Blend it in very well, so there's nothing in there. Or no white spots peeking through, even though it's already been painted, but you need to blend it in very well. Okay, so even if you have to go back over it 4 times. Once you get that base, this part of it done, everything's blended. Now you're gonna take this part of the roller and you're gonna do the top. Now if you get the paint on the wall, you can wipe it off instantly with your finger or a rag. It's gonna wipe right off. So now I'm gonna take it, and if you hit this part with the floor, that's fine, it's clean, because you've already vacuumed and there's crap off of it, which I already know this floor is clean. You're gonna angle it, and you're gonna brush it in on that angle, okay? Now, the rule of thumb too is you're not putting any pressure. The more pressure you put, the more of a lip of paint you're gonna get on the top of that. If you do get it, brush it off with your finger, okay? But you're gonna go all across this baseboard now, very lightly, and I just got a little on the wall. I'm gonna take my hand, I wiped it off. So as you hit the wall, which I don't do often, and you might, just wipe it off instantly. So it doesn't dry on there, we don't have to do more touch-ups. Just keep going. All the way across that board. Very lightly, do not give it any pressure at all. And I hit the wall again. It's been a long day. You're wiping all that paint off, so you don't have to do touch-up with paint again on the wall. Very lightly, no pressure at all. You're just letting that roller glide against the wood, that's it. Okay, once you do that, I do a once over again on the main base to cover any lips and to blend it in. And that's how you do the baseboard. The only thing to remember on the baseboard is you make sure that you take the tip of that and you push the paint in to the nails. So it looks like there was never even nail holes in the trim, so we don't have to go back in with putty afterwards. That was like the main purpose of all of this. to make sure that was done. And then when you move on to the door frames, you're doing very little paint. So if you want to show that, I mean, you're doing so little, you want to just put it up a little bit. You're not dry rolling it because that would give it an awful look, but you just want to put a little bit of paint on there. And this is going to happen with the windowsills and the door frames, okay? So where these seams are, because Dave used a pen, those are hard to cover up, okay? So I'm taking the tip or this edge and I'm actually kind of swiping the paint in there to cover it in. So when you get to this tip, you gotta kind of be careful so you don't get runs on this edge or the top, that you're either swiping down or you're swiping up. Being very careful not to get too much that you're getting runs. But you're getting it in there. So hopefully you saw the difference beforehand. Now that looks brand new. It looks like it's seamless, right? You know, and then before I start painting, I take and I swipe all the nail holes, which isn't very many because Dave's done a really good job. Just swipe the paint in there into those nail holes and fill them so we don't have to come back with putty. Okay? Now that I'm doing this top, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to swipe this corner as well. I'm going to fill that with paint. I'm going to be careful up here not to get the runs from that side or up here where it's going to run down. So swipe it down, swipe it up, and then in the middle, just get that paint in there. Okay, once you do that, take the roller. No pressure at all. Remember, no pressure. I'm letting that roller glide on there. Barely. There's absolutely no pressure at all. Now if you get pressure, you're going to get a lip and you're going to get runs. So once I got this top part here done, I'm going to take either this side of the roller or this side of the roller because there's a slant in this casing. And I'm going to go very lightly. There's no pressure at all when I'm doing any of this. I'm just letting that roller glide on this trim. So then I don't have to worry about this bottom part or the top part getting too much overlap that there's going to be runs. Because then that's a whole nother deal of fixing that crap and going over again. And then you're blending it all in. Making sure it's all has an even coat. Okay? Once you have it all an even coat, what I'm doing is I'm taking the brush and I'm just going a couple times over again. 1, 2, 3. It's all good. It's all even. We're good to go. Blending it down. Blending it down. Covering up any nail holes. And always leaving with an edge that you're blending down so there's no fine lines if it dries. And that's going to be the same thing on each windowsill as well. And then if you do catch yourself having any runs inside the jam, all you have to do is take your finger and wipe it down. And then when you're done, just do a quick check over to make sure there's no runs or any drips. And that's what you're going to do to every single windowsill that Dave's done. The nursery is 100% done except the inside of the closet, which you'll have to do before the carpet's laid on Monday. And then making sure you get Matt's bedroom done 100% before the carpet's laid too, because any baseboard that's down has to be done before the carpet's laid, because you will not be able to roll this with the carpet down. You'll get paint on the carpet. But I think that's as technical as I can get it. If you do have questions, give me a call.